Joining me now is Democratic Senator Chris Coons. He's on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And Senator, you are in Lithuania. You've been traveling through Europe over the past week, talking to America's allies. I want to talk about that in a second. But first, what can you tell us about this new U.S. warning of an imminent full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine?
Well, I agree strongly with President Biden's choice to proactively share critical intelligence about Russian military plans. This is alarming, but frankly, we've had weeks to prepare for the possibility of a full-scale military invasion of Ukraine by Russia, and President Biden has done a strong job pulling together our NATO allies, building a global coalition to do its best to deter Putin and to support the Ukrainian people.
You called for crushing sanctions against Russia really soon after Vladimir Putin's speech on Monday night. Is what the Biden administration doing right now crushing, to use your term, enough?
Yes. What President Biden has done is initially roll out a first tranche of sanctions and then wait for our German allies, our Canadian allies, our British allies, our European Union to also meet us and roll out tough sanctions, which they have done on Nord Stream 2 by Germany, on oligarchs by the British, many other sanctions. And there are additional waves of sanctions that have been prepared by the Biden administration. And as Putin continues to carry out his aggressive actions, we will continue to see coordinated, sustained international sanctions that will be crushing.
And when you come back to into session in the U.S. Senate, will there finally be a bipartisan bill to add to that?
Yes, I'm confident that there will be strong bipartisan support to keep our NATO commitments. Dana, I'm here in a country of 3 million people. Lithuania punches above its weight. It's one of our NATO allies. They were occupied by Russia for decades, before and after their period as the Soviet Union, and they know what kind of a threat they face. I stand firmly behind, and so will a bipartisan majority of the Senate, President Biden's commitment that we will defend every inch of NATO territory. I visited with American soldiers here earlier today who are training alongside Lithuanian, German, and other NATO soldiers. Their morale is good. They are well trained and well equipped, and they are just 100 miles from the border with Belarus, where there's now 30,000 Russian troops. This is a critical moment of testing for the West, for NATO, and for American leadership. I'm convinced that Putin will only stop when we stop him, and I think President Biden is just the right leader for us at this moment.
And you talk about meeting with U.S. troops. I know that you've met with leaders in various European countries, not just where you are in Lithuania. What are you hearing from them about the generational potential for a generational shift in how Europe and indeed the globe is with regard to the West versus Russia?
Well, Dana, I've been traveling with Senator Durbin of Illinois, Senator Shaheen of New Hampshire. We were in Poland meeting with their president, their foreign minister, their defense minister. Here we've met with the foreign minister and prime minister, and we've heard strongly from both of them their grave concerns about this moment, their commitment to our NATO partnership, and their hope that the United States will stand strong with our treaty allies here in Europe. Before that, I was in Munich, where a broad bipartisan delegation from Congress, along with Vice President Harris, met with many leaders from throughout the world, primarily focused on this critical moment, this turning point in modern European history. I think that we are aligned the right way to confront this moment, and I think it will lead to a shift in the future of the continent. We are up to this challenge, but we need to hold together and stand firm with our NATO allies.
Well, on that note, I have to ask you about something that the former president, Donald Trump, said in talking about the aggression. Of course, we know that he has a history of cozying up to Vladimir Putin. He called what he is doing right now genius. Your reaction?
So part of what President Biden had to do in his first year as president was to repair some of the frayed relationships with our key NATO allies. President Trump, during his 4 years, said and did a number of things, taking the word of Vladimir Putin over our own intelligence community, for example, on the question of whether there was Russian interference in our 2016 presidential election, harrying and harassing and bullying and publicly disagreeing with key NATO and European allies. That weakened our alliance. And I think that laid the groundwork for encouraging Putin to take the bold risks that he's taken in Belarus, in Ukraine, and elsewhere. And frankly, President Biden has done the hard work in his first year as president to rebuild these relationships. And that's one of the things I heard from leaders both here in Lithuania, in Poland, and in Munich in Germany at the Security Conference.
Senator Chris Coons, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.